Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tori if you're new here, and today I'm going to turn you around and show you what I picked up at Walmart for some cheap budget-friendly meals for the week. I'm not sure if this will be lunch or dinner or even breakfast. I just want to give you some ideas to shop on the cheap as well as cook on the cheap with pantry staples. So I know a lot of us are shopping our shelves right now, and I feel like this meal plan that I'm about to show you, I guess, is very attainable for just about anybody. I am not going to lie to you. Some of these processed foods, some of these meals in a can or meals in a box aren't necessarily something that I'm going to be reaching for 24/7. I put these into our diet every now and then. If you're new here, I always say that we're 80-20 in my family, and we try and do clean, fresh foods all year round, but that's not the reality for at least our family and many other people like us. So if you like that kind of thing, if you like that balance and that transparency, definitely hit the subscribe button and keep on watching. I have many budget-friendly meals that I've cooked over the last couple of years. And I didn't want to come on here and make a bunch of disclaimers, but I will say to keep an open mind when it comes to foods like this. And then later on in the week, I wanted to show you some items in my kitchen that I typically would have cooked with. I actually have been swapping out with other better for you items that I am finding at a discounted price, if that makes sense. So yes, if you're new here, I am a stay-at-home mom to four. I make content when I can, and we talk about being prepared on a budget. And we can be prepared for just about anything, but I find that if we remain positive and we remain pretty realistic with all of that, it creates some success, at least in my household, and I like to bring you along that journey. So without further ado, I'm going to get you turned around and show you what I picked up at Walmart, and then stay tuned for next week. I will be trying to do this at Dollar General. If this video reaches the amount of people that I would love it to, I promised myself I wouldn't make disclaimers, but you can cook however you want. All of these meals are going to be different for every single one of us. I have felt insecurity with food in my lifetime before, so please know my heart goes out to you, but do what you can. And if you are using those benefits, make sure you're using them to the full potential. Really analyze what kind of food is out there and what you can do with it and how to make your food stretch, and go through those items and see what you truly need. Now is not the time for sodas. Now is not the time for prepackaged easy snacks. You have to do what you have to do, and there's no judgment coming from me, but really analyze those lists and see those absolute necessities and see where you can get different items at a discounted price, and then be prepared. Be prepared for emergencies just like this. I talk about this on the channel all the time, and I feel like it's really important to reiterate being prepared for any emergency. And just because we are labeled as air quote preppers does not make us these insane, people. It makes us prepared and not scared, not panicked, and just overall well. So we're going to get into these recipes right now. I will try and list out the prices for everything in the description box, but please know this is for my area in central Pennsylvania. So we're going to start off strong with a classic. This is a take on tuna noodle casserole. So I have 2 cans of tuna here. I have a block of the 8 ounces of medium cheddar cheese, but you're just going to use half of this cheese. And again, you can interchange these ingredients, move them around. Maybe you don't want cheese in this, don't put it in there. We're going to use 1/4 of this onion, and then we're going to use the Alfredo pasta sauce. I'm going to use the whole jar, but I really think you could make this stretch and put some milk in there if you had that on hand, or even water, and then just add some extra salt and go from here. But I wanted to show you the amount of ingredients on a jar of Alfredo when really you just need butter, cream, and Parmesan, and maybe a little bit of garlic, but it's super easy to make, and those staples are important to have on hand. I have the Great Value rotini, that's 98 cents. I'm not a fan of enriched pastas, and again, I will go over that later on in the week and what I do to swap out for that, but I tend to steer clear of that. And then the next meal is going to be some classic ham and bean. This is my take on it, at least for this budget. I'm going to do it in the crock pot for 10 hours, low and slow. You get 2 of these ham steaks, and they are 17 grams of protein per steak. So that's awesome. I'm just going to cube this ham up. I'm going to put some pinto beans in here. You just want pinto beans. They are the cheapest because they are probably the lowest nutritional value of all the bean family. If you need something better, I'd go with the kidney bean or even a lentil. That would be a good one here, but ham and bean has a classic flavor, and that's what I'm trying to recreate here. And onions just give so much flavor, so don't be afraid of getting that. That was 68 cents. You really can't beat it. And you're just going to put that in the crock pot, low and slow, with some water, of course, and I went for 10 hours. And then next on the list, this was the tastiest meal of them all. We're doing the Tyson fresh pork, and we're going to do some taco seasoning, some bell pepper, Roma tomatoes, and then you're going to top it with Jiffy corn muffin mix. I only used one of these, so you could do another one of these later on in the week, and instead of using the pork, you could use beans, or you could add the beans now and then just make 2. Make one for now and save one for later. You could put some cheese on there if you wanted and call it a good time. I will say there are turkey little, I don't know, pound bags that are super cheap at Walmart, but mine was out. So I went for the pork, and they were $2.74 instead of under $2. And that's a great alternative for ground beef if you don't have that. But look into ground beef and the sale prices, because there are some out there for $3.99. I also have another item on here. These are going to be like a lentil pork rice bowl, and it's kind of like a sloppy joe. You could totally buy a thing of barbecue sauce if you wanted, but these are super cheap, and they're in the ready-made area where you can get to-go food. And 2 of these together, I believe it came to like 68 cents, but I will see at the end of this when I show you my receipt. I have some onion here, of course, to add flavor, and you're just mixing that all together to make a sloppy joe consistency, and you're going to serve it on that rice. You could put cheese on this again if you wanted, but I will show you the sides that I plan to serve with these at the end of this meal lineup. Next on my list is my take on a chicken pot pie, and this is an item here that I like to stretch. So I'm just using canned chicken, but a whole chicken right now for me is $8.02. In the crock pot, you can get chicken broth from it, and so many dinners out of a whole chicken. So look into that, but you're going to want a potato, some brown gravy just for flavoring. That's 34 cents. You're going to need some onion and then some mixed veggies, and then you can do a pie crust on top and then one on the bottom, or you could make this stretch into 2 meals. You could also add a can of white beans just to make this stretch a little more, but I'm going to add a potato this time. A bag of potatoes is $2.99, so I would suggest buying that 5-pound bag, but if you don't have that in your budget, just buy a single potato. And speak of potatoes, I am on a budget all the time. You know, I talk about the poor man's food is what they used to call it, and we are going to go for some pierogi casserole. And again, you could buy that 5-pound of potatoes and make your own mashed potatoes, but I'm going to try this deluxe baked powdered potatoes. Not the best for you once again, but we're going to try it out just to change it up. You're going to need some butter and onions if you're doing anything pierogi related, and then you are going to need some cream cheese, but it's not necessary, and you're just going to layer it like a regular lasagna. You're going to do potatoes, lasagna noodles, potatoes, lasagna noodles. You can add cheese to this if you want, and then you're going to add a dash of water and cover it, and it will steam. I promise those noodles will cook. I've had questions about that before. And then here are my sides for the week. Again, not the best, but we're going to go for some broccoli. Some carrots are always a cheap one. The organic are pennies more than the regular, so go for the organic when you can. There's some butter here and some cream cheese to just add to things, and I showed you that rice with the sloppy joes. That's another addition to the sides, as well as some green beans. Alrighty, bear with me as I attempt to voice this over, but I wanted to do my little tip. When I'm doing anything online when it comes to food shopping, I always filter what I'm searching for. So say I type in beans in the search line, I'm always filtering to the lowest price. So I always push the button priced lowest to highest, and then I work with what I can get. I typically am trying not to spend over $5 on items when I'm doing these air quote challenges. So I wanted to say that. Of course, our prices are going to vary. Picking up items at Walmart is free. If you get it delivered, you get the $10 fee plus whatever you're tipping your driver. Very important to do that. If you want to give back to the community, or maybe you're just a busy person, go ahead and do that. So I'm going to have this here. Again, there are other items that you could have gotten. It depends. And I have so many videos like this, so you just let me know. Jiffy pie crust, $1.96 for 2 of them. Jiffy cornbread muffin mix, $1 for 2 of them. The butter, the 2 sticks of butter is $2.73. Is it a greater value? Haha, great value. If you get the 4 sticks, absolutely, but we're trying to keep it under 40. As you can see, it was $40.59. We have $1.94 for cheddar block cheese. We have $2.62 for the fresh whole carrots. I could have saved here and put us under the $40. I have 75 cents for a russet baking potato, 78 cents for a yellow onion. All of these weights are going to vary, of course, depending on what produce you get, the size and whatnot. Bell pepper, 82 cents. 2 Roma tomatoes, 48 cents. 98 cents for the frozen mixed vegetables. Broccoli florets are going to be $1.16. And I did forget to mention some of these items are on rollback. Not sure why. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. $3.97 for the 2-pack of ham, $2.94 for the great value sausage roll. Looking back, I would have gotten the ring smoked chicken sausage that Walmart sells. That's really delicious as well. Taco seasoning for 47 cents. 2 brown gravy mixes for 64 cents, 84 cents for 2 sweet and sours, but you know what I mean. They were supposed to be barbecue. I couldn't find them on here. I have $1.56 for cream cheese, $1.16 for lentils, 92 cents for rice, $1 for pintos, $1 for 2 cans of cut green beans, $1.57 for the oven-ready lasagna, which is cheaper than the lasagna that you need to boil, $2 for 2 buttery complete potatoes, $2.48 for 2 packs of chicken chunk breast, $1.92 for great value Alfredo, 98 cents for rotini, and that is going to be the total. So $40.59 there. I really think that's a great value. And honestly, these meals are pretty awesome, and I hope this was helpful for you. Alrighty, everyone, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope this gave you some ideas to shop on the cheap and cook on the cheap this week. I would love to hear some of your ideas down in the comment box down below. Stay tuned for this week. I have a few different videos coming to you, and I hope you are well wherever you are. I understand there's a lot of heat right now in the political realm of things, and I feel like if we just come together as a community and remain positive, we will get through this. So if you ever need anything, definitely dial your local 211. Again, if you're uncomfortable doing that, please email me and I will try and find you food in your local area. I cannot help you financially. I truly cannot, but I can help you as much as I can when it comes to finding food. I promise you there is food out there, even with the government shutdown currently. There are so many places that can get food to you, or you can go to them. So if you have not already, definitely hit that subscribe button and stay in touch. I will catch you on the next one. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative. Bye, y'all.